I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to Look Back, where I take a look at reviews that I did a year, 5 years, and 10 years ago. And I tell you what I think of them at now, if I think about them at all. So last year, this week, I took a look at Doctor Who Keys to the TARDIS. This is a terrible game based on Keys to the Ice Kingdom or it's some bad kids game. And this is really insulting that this game was made. It's a terrible theme, terrible game. And not that Doctor Who's a terrible theme, but it's a money cash grab. Fired Up. I wanted to like this game a lot. By the way, that first one's a 3 out of 10. Fired Up is a 5 out of 10. This game looks cool. It's like an arena. There's people. You bet on them. You play cards to see who wins versus who. It is too complicated for how much fun the game provides, unfortunately. 5 out of 10. The Whatnot Cabinet. This is a very simple game where you're filling up a cabinet with cards. I know a lot of people like this one. And it's fast. It's simple. You're trying to match columns and rows as you take and draft these cards. I found it to be fine. So 6 out of 10. Cryo. This one got a lot of love. We did a Foursquare review of this game. I give this one a 7. There's a lot of cool ideas in it. Some nice worker placement and also worker unplacement when you pull the workers back on your board. This one does seem like it's fallen off the face of the earth, but I remember it now this time. Nouvelle France. This is a big giant game, but the game itself isn't big. It's because there's a lot of blocks in it. You're building little walls around these different buildings and trying to make it so that your blocks are in different rows for points. 7 out of 10. Bullet Heart. I'm actually increasing this one from a 7 to a 7.5. I like this. I mean, the anime theme still is like, it doesn't do anything for me. My kids like it more. But the idea of these shapes falling down and you are using bullets to send them at your opponents. Think of a Tetris game. It does a good job. I'm looking forward to the sequel, which is Bullet Star. Dumb names. For Science, a 7.5. This game, which is a decent cooperative game, was very unique and interesting as you build blocks. This is the second game I'm talking about here. You're building blocks, but you're building viruses. Or you're building stuff to stop viruses, and then you use that to go around the world. Has some really unique, interesting ideas. Overboss, a boss monster adventure. This is an 8 out of 10. I really like this tile laying game. You draft a tile and a monster, and then you put it in front of you. So you're drafting a tile and then placing it in front of you, but the monster you might want to move the monster to a different tile. You can make some cool combos. It's very simple and easy to get into. Fairy Tale Inn. This is a 2-player game that looks like Connect 4 because you're dropping these little fairy tale creatures into this Connect 4 grid, but you score based on where they fall in. You're not trying to get 5 in a row or anything. Very easy to play, very simple. This is a game that could have been sold in the mass market. And then I took a look at both of the expansions for Sleeping Gods. Sleeping Gods Tides of Ruin, 8.5 because it's just more stuff, more map, more creatures, more things. But Sleeping Gods Dungeons I gave a 9 to because it adds dungeons, and I really like the idea of dungeons in this game. You find a spot on the board with a dungeon, and then you go through that dungeon. It's like you've gone all over this earth, and then you find this dungeon that you can go into. It's pretty cool. I like it a lot. All right, 5 years ago, I took a look at 2 games about inventions that are both terrible. First, Nerdy Inventions. It doesn't even sound good, but you're trying to make some inventions. There's a lot of these games make inventions and sell them to people. Then there's Great Scott, which is a better name, but also just as terrible about making inventions. Both of those 4s out of 10. Nitroglycerol. This is from Zoc. It's a game in which you have this flask, and you're trying to tilt it in such a way that the cubes come out in a certain order. That's cool. And then there's a game of cards around it, which is decidedly not cool. 5 out of 10. The Banishing. This is a weird little co-op game from WizKids that I can't remember anything about, but doesn't look that great. So I dropped it from a 6 to a 5. Outlaw, the little Western bluffing game with cards. 6. Lightning Dice. Roll dice as fast as you can. 6 out of 10. This is not a good time 5 years ago. But hey, wait. The Captain is Dead. Actually, The Captain is Dead, I dropped it. It was a 7.5. I'm dropping it to a 6.5. They came out with 3 of these. And each time I played it, I was like, this is not as good as I thought. There's some good ideas here. The captain dies. You're one of the officers. And you move around and fight things. But the bad component quality and it's not as exciting to me. It's missing that certain spark, which is why I dropped it down. Veggie Garden. This is a simple game about putting vegetables in a garden, scoring points on where you place them. Very light game from Kelly North Adams. I like it. 7 out of 10. Go Gelato, where you take ice cream cones and you're moving ice cream scoops, or gelato, which is better than ice cream, onto the different cones. Very similar to their Mad Scientist one, where you're pouring balls from test tube to test tube. This one is ice cream scoops. It's silly fun, works really well for kids. 8 out of 10. And Century Spice Road. I love Century Spice Road. What a fantastic game. This is a 9 out of 10. It's only 5 years. It seems like it's been out for longer than that, but since it's come out, there's been a whole trilogy of games, and they're all fantastic. 10 years ago, I took a look at a game called Vintage, which is about wine producing. It's from Mesa Board Games, but 5 out of 10. Abaddon. I really want to like Abaddon. This is from Richard Borg with mechs, and it's like based on his command and color system, but it's just okay. Part of this is, I'm not blaming Richard Borg. I think the publisher just didn't put a lot of effort into this one, but it's an okay fighting game, a little war game. 6 out of 10. Whitewater, a fun racing game where you're racing down on Whitewater Rapids from Mayfair's line Funfair, which no longer exists. And Mission Red Planet. I gave this an 8 out of 10, but I wrote my notes here kind of because this is the original printing of Mission Red Planet. When they came out with the reprint of it, I upped that to an 8.5. So my 8.5 rating is for the current version of Mission Red Planet because it really is a terrific game of area control, trying to outguess other people, play cards. If you like the new printing of Libertalia, that came out. If you like Libertalia, if you like Area Majority, and you like just the smidgen of Take That and like needling other players like Citadels, you'll like Mission Red Planet. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, those are the reviews that I did 1, 5, and 10 years ago. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Look Back on the Dice Tower.